Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're your shortcut to understanding the big ideas. Think of us as your personal research team, really cutting through the noise to get you those core insights for growth.
Yeah, helping you learn faster and deeper.
Exactly. And today, we're cracking open a really popular framework for you, the learner. A woman who wants that actionable knowledge without getting totally bogged down.
And we're diving deep into the YouTube transcript of audiobook Start With Why by Simon Sinek.
Right.
And our aim isn't just like a quick summary. We want to really dissect that central message.
Yeah, explore how it can genuinely fuel, personal and professional transformation.
That's the goal.
Our mission today is really getting to the heart of Sinek's argument, this idea that understanding and leading with your why.
Your purpose, your cause.
Your belief, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the key to inspiring action and building success that actually lasts. We're going to explore why this, seemingly simple idea has resonated so much.
And the audiobook transcript, it gives us a really focused look at these core concepts, and it uses some pretty well-known examples.
Okay.
So let's jump right in. The core of it, this power of why.
Right.
The main idea is, most of us, we instinctively focus on what we do.
The job, the product.
How we do it. But the truly inspiring leaders, the inspiring companies, they flip that script.
And turn it inside out.
Exactly. They start with why.
Okay, let's unpack that fundamental difference. Because most businesses, when they communicate, they might say something like,
we sell great laptops.
Yeah, they have these features, this cool design. That's all what, maybe a bit of how.
Right.
But Sinek's arguing the real magic happens when you lead with that fundamental belief.
Precisely. Take Apple, that's his classic example, isn't it? Instead of just saying, we make great computers, their messaging, it's rooted in their why. It's more about
challenging things, thinking differently.
Yeah, challenging the status quo, empowering individuals. Then they talk about how they do that, innovative design, user-friendly tech.
And the computers, the phones, comes last.
It flows from the why. And think about inspiring figures too, like Martin Luther King Jr.
Right, the I Have Dreams speech.
It wasn't a 10-point plan, was it?
No, not at all.
It was this powerful articulation of a core belief. Equality, justice, the specifics, the how and what, like legislative changes, those came later. They were driven by that initial compelling why.
It's fascinating.
And what really stands out is how this inside-out communication, why, how, what it taps into something way deeper than just, rational decision-making.
It's emotional.
Totally. It creates a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging. People aren't just buying a thing, they're buying into something, a belief. A movement, almost.
And that's what inspires real action, real loyalty, not just temporary incentives.
Exactly. People act because they want to, because they believe, not because they have to or they're getting a discount.
Okay, so if this why is so powerful, what's the alternative? The more common approach that often falls short. The transcript talks about manipulation versus inspiration.
Yeah, and it's interesting how broad the definition of manipulation is here. It includes things like, price drops, obviously.
Promotions, limited time offers.
Right, but also playing on fear or aspirations, even just novelty, things that grab attention quickly.
And they can work, right, in the short term.
Oh, absolutely. They can drive sales figures up.
We see it all the time, those car company cashback deals. It moves cars, sure, but the transcript suggests it kind of creates, cashback junkies.
Right.
Customers only motivated by the next deal.
Exactly. There's no real connection to the brand itself. It's just about the incentive.
And when the deals go?
So do the customers. It's purely transactional, price-based, no loyalty there.
The source even mentioned rebates, didn't it? Where companies count on people not redeeming them.
Yeah, breakage and slippage, they call it. It's pretty manipulative when you think about it. Hardly builds trust.
And fear is another big one. That old IBM saying.
No one ever got fired for buying IBM.
Right. It wasn't really about IBM being the best, necessarily.
It was about fear. Fear of making the wrong choice, the risky choice.
And those old anti-drug ads aimed at parents. Or even insurance warnings. Playing on fear to get a reaction.
Definitely. And the crucial point is, while these tactics can give you quick results, they often lead to this race to the bottom.
Constantly needing bigger discounts. Scarier warnings.
Exactly. More novelty. It's just not sustainable if you want to build real long-term value and connection.
Whereas inspiration, Tapping into that core why, that fosters something much deeper.
It's about aligning with people's own values, their own beliefs, and that creates a lasting loyalty.
A connection that goes beyond the features list.
Your transcript puts it nicely. Loyalty lives in the buyer's brain. It's emotional. It comes from sharing a why. If someone believes what you believe, they're much more likely to stick around.
Okay, so this brings us back to that model he uses, the golden circle.
Yeah, the golden circle. Simple but powerful visual why at the very center.
Then how, then what on the outside?
Right, and our natural instinct, most people, most organizations, is to communicate from the outside in.
Starting with what?
Yeah, here's our product, here's our service. Then maybe we explain how it's different or better. But we rarely get to, or even articulate clearly, that fundamental why.
The driving force.
But the inspired ones, they lead with that core belief from the inside out.
And their how and what then become like the proof.
Tangible proof of that why. The product isn't just a product, it's evidence of their purpose.
It embodies the belief.
Perfectly put. It's not just selling something, it's selling a belief, and the product is the tangible symbol of it.
Okay, now the transcript also talks about our need to belong. A pretty fundamental human drive. How does that connect to the why?
This is where it gets really compelling, I think. Our desire to belong, it's wired deep, and it's tied to shared values, shared beliefs.
We gravitate towards people who seem like us.
Right. People, organizations, anyone we perceive as sharing our fundamental why.
You know, like when you find someone with the same obscure hobby or really deep conviction you share.
Instant connection, right? Like finding your tribe.
Yeah.
And the same thing happens with brands. When a company clearly communicates its why and it clicks with our beliefs, we feel that connection. We feel like we belong to something bigger.
And that builds trust, loyalty.
Absolutely. Which leads right into authenticity. The transcript really hammers this point.
It has to be real.
Totally. True authenticity comes when your why, your how, and your what are all aligned. Your actions have to genuinely reflect what you say you believe.
Otherwise,
the why just feels hollow, disingenuous. And that's when, like we said, companies fall back on manipulation because the inspiration isn't real. There's a disconnect.
Makes sense. Now, the book also brings in the law of diffusion and the tipping point. How did these ideas help explain how things catch on?
Okay, so the law of diffusion, it basically describes how new ideas or products spread through society. You have different groups adopting at different times.
Starts with the innovators, right? Then early adopters.
Exactly. Those are the people drawn to newness, willing to take a risk. Then come the majorities early and late, and finally the laggards who are resistant to change.
And the key insight here, for starting with why, is
it's that inspiring movements don't try to win over everyone at once. That's inefficient.
So who do they focus on?
They focus on attracting those innovators and early adopters first. The people who already resonate with the why?
The natural believers.
Precisely. They're the ones willing to take a chance because they believe in the underlying cause or idea. The majority. They'll follow, but usually only when they see proof.
Proof that the vision works.
Yeah.
That the early adopters weren't crazy.
Exactly. They need to see it become tangible, see that it's working. So the focus has to be on nurturing that initial core of believers.
The folks on the left side of that curve.
That's it. Trying to convince the skeptical majority right off the bat, people who don't share your why yet. It's usually an uphill battle. Inspiration starts with the inspired.
Got it. Now, we focus so much on why, but obviously the how is crucial too. You can't just have a belief. How do these visionaries actually make things happen?
Yeah, the transcript is clear on this. The why types, the visionaries, the dreamers, they need how types.
Builders, the pragmatists.
Exactly. The ones who can figure out the practical steps to make the vision a reality. The why provides the destination, the how figures out the roadmap.
And the book gives some classic examples of these partnerships, right?
Walt Disney, the ultimate visionary, needed his brother Roy to handle the business.
Steve Jobs and Wozniak.
Perfect example. Jobs had the big revolutionary ideas. Wozniak had the engineering genius to build the actual machines. You absolutely need both.
And the source even differentiates between vision statements and mission statements.
Right. Vision statements are about the why, that future state you're aiming for. Mission statements are more about the how, the specific actions you'll take to get there.
Both important, but different roles.
Crucial difference. And ultimately, the success of this why-how partnership really depends on trust.
Mutual trust.
Has to be. The visionary needs to trust the builders can execute, and the builders need to genuinely believe in and be inspired by the why. Otherwise,
It falls apart.
yeah, even the best why can fizzle out without solid execution grounded in that belief.
Now, something else the transcript mentions is the split. Sounds ominous. What happens there?
It's a common pitfall, apparently, especially as organizations grow. The split happens when that initial clarity of why starts to get, well, fuzzy.
Yep.
As the company gets bigger, more successful, the focus often shifts. It drifts towards the products, the revenue targets, the market share.
The tangible stuff.
Right, and the how, the processes, the systems, the efficiency, the scale, the why can get lost in the shuffle.
So the organization starts doing exactly what Sinek warns against communicating from the outside in again.
Pretty much. And when the why becomes fuzzy, there are consequences. We talked about relying more on manipulation.
Because the inspiration fades.
Exactly. Passion declines, employees can feel disconnected, less inspired by the day-to-day, disengagement creeps in.
The source mentioned Walmart as maybe an example.
Yeah, suggesting that their original why, serving communities, bringing value, perhaps got overshadowed by this intense, relentless focus purely on low prices, which sometimes led to other issues.
And that idea of endicott entrepreneurs.
That highlights it on a smaller scale. Founders who start with this burning why, this passion, but then they get so bogged down in just running the business, the operations.
They lose sight of why they started.
They forget the original purpose. It just really drives home the need to constantly protect and nurture that why.
Keep checking that alignment between why, how, and what, especially as you grow.
Absolutely. Staying true to your core beliefs, no matter how big you get, it requires conscious effort. Let's shift gears slightly. Measuring value. This can feel pretty concrete praise features, but the transcript offers a different take.
Yeah, this is interesting. The insight is that value isn't just a rational calculation. It's largely emotional.
A feeling, a perception.
Exactly, not just numbers on a spreadsheet.
The example of branded versus generic goods hits this, right?
Totally. You can have two tennis rackets, physically identical maybe,
But one has the swoosh or the right name.
and it feels more valuable. People perceive it differently because of the story, the brand, the implied why behind it.
And that perceived value, when it's driven by a why that connects with people.
It translates directly into loyalty. People will often pay more for something they genuinely believe in, something they feel represents them.
Finally, the transcript really emphasizes leadership's role in all this. It's not just about setting strategy.
No, it's critical for safeguarding the why. Inspired leaders, they embody the organization's why. They live it.
They're the chief reminder. In a way, yeah. They are the living representation of the core beliefs, and they have to consistently communicate that message, reinforce it.
The examples of, say, Steve Jobs leaving Apple the first time.
Right, and the impact that had. Or Bill Gates stepping back from the day-to-day at Microsoft. It shows how much the presence or absence of a leader who is deeply connected to the why can really steer the ship.
Affects the whole company's sense of purpose.
Hugely. So leadership isn't just managing tasks, it's being the primary custodian, the champion of the organization's fundamental reason for being.
The source even gave that glimpse into Apple's own origin why, that kind of rebellious, challenge the system feeling from the start, like the Blue Box days, taking on IBM.
Empowering the individual.
And that Battle of Agincourt story. A smaller army, less equipped, but winning because of a powerful shared belief.
Yeah, it really drives home how a compelling why can make up for deficits in what. Makes you think, doesn't it, about the beliefs driving your own choices. And ultimately, understanding your personal why, your own purpose. That feels like the foundation for everything else. For impact, for fulfillment.
So wrapping up this deep dive into start with why. The central message, it feels really clear, doesn't it?
Undeniable, I'd say.
Leading with, and more importantly, staying true to your why. It's not just some abstract idea, it's the engine.
The engine for inspiration, for building success that actually lasts. And yeah, for finding that deeper sense of purpose in what you do.
Which leads to maybe the most important question for you listening. Have you really pinned down your own why?
Yeah, what's the core belief, the purpose, the cause that really drives you personally, professionally?
Worth taking some real time to reflect on that, maybe. How could getting clearer on your why actually transform how you approach things? Your goals, your work, your relationships.
And maybe a final thought to chew on. What really becomes possible What could you truly achieve if you consistently started every endeavor, big or small, with the powerful, authentic why?
How might that reshape not just what you do, but the kind of impact you have?